What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Spot Show podcast. This is, of course, an independent wrestling podcast with a few pit stops along the way. I am your host, Jim Minton, Dickie Wabash, and joining me this week as my guest host, we have got the former New Version Wrestling heavyweight champion, Kidd Riot, is in the house. I got to figure out, I guess we could do the Kesha's secret boyfriend thing, because when Oliver is on, it's of course 5'7" gift from heaven. When V is on, it's any one of the multitude of nicknames that he's got. There for a while, I was calling you New Version Wrestling heavyweight champion, but you have since lost that belt.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, I'll send you the notes that Chan. I know you weren't at that show because you guys had other commitments, but Chan actually wrote the night I won the NBW title. He wrote a paragraph of nicknames for me. I'll just send it to you just for the record. At some point he just started making stuff up as he was talking. So it's tremendous.
I would do that with Brian back in the day. Like literally his nickname on the night would be whatever we decided that his name would be on the way to the show. And one of my favorite ones is, do you remember the episode of South Park where they're all evil and they have the goatees?
Yes.
Okay, well, that week he had not shaved, so he had a goatee. So I announced him as Evil Jason V. What were some of the other ones? He has like 6 or 9 toes on his right foot. Jason V. What was another one? Of course, there was Reptar's favorite wrestler. There was... I don't remember. He's got a whole list, and he will probably message me the whole list, but we've talked about it ad nauseum on here, his different nicknames.
There was a company kind of by me, and they had a gimmick of heels that they called the Fun Police, and their gimmick is they literally just would crap on fun.
I love that.
Yeah, there was like the head guys, and then there were the minions, you know what I mean? And the minions would get different names every single show. So like one time it was Officer Peanut and Brittle and so forth. Just dumb nicknames that they would give them as they were cutting the promo. So it'd be like, it's me out here, blah, blah, blah. And I've got Officer Dingle and Barry. Yeah. Every time they had a different name, and it cracked me up so much because it was stupid.
I love that. I was recently having some conversations with Christian Rose and Connor Hopkins, and some throwaway gimmicks were mentioned, and I don't want to say them because I don't want them stolen. But there is one that Christian Rose has definitively said that he will start using, and it is one of my favorites. Remind me to tell you when we're not recording, because there were 2 specifically that were really funny and they really made me happy. You know what doesn't make me happy though, Kidd Riot?
Yes, what?
I had a realization recently. This is proof that we are in a simulation, and the simulation is running out of content. We're on the rerun portion of the simulation.
Oh, you're talking about how they remade Malcolm in the Middle? Because I can talk about that all day. I watched all the episodes in one day.
No, but they brought back Scrubs, and it's incredible.
Really?
Yes.
See, the last season was such a slog for me that I don't know if I could go back. Because the last season was really to watch.
Are you talking about the med school season?
Bingo.
They completely retconned that out, brother.
Good, because that season was not good.
Didn't happen. And thank God for that, because that ruined Scrubs for me. Because Scrubs is one of my all-time favorite shows. I legitimately struggle with what's my favorite show of all time, Scrubs or The Sopranos. 2 vastly different television shows, by the way.
Yeah, a little bit different content there.
Yeah,
between one and the other. Hey, real quick, before we get too far on the trail, you talked about funny gimmicks and Christian Rose. Yes. And B, this reminds me of a story that I've never told anybody. Not never told anyone that I don't think Rose even knows. So I was in Wisconsin with Cecil and V And it was when Shockwave the Robot. Do you know about Shockwave the Robot, for the record?
Yes, I'm familiar. That's brother.
Okay.
That's a blast from the past.
Right. So Shockwave was working Dreamwave against Christian Rose, I believe, and which is just a hell of a statement. Period. But anyways, like we were all laying in the hotel room, and he was reading the results of the Dreamwave show, and he's like, Christian Rose beat Shockwave the Robot, or whoever Shockwave wrestled. It's really funny if it wasn't Rose, but anyways. And then later we're talking, and I jokingly, somebody mentioned Rose again, and I love Rose, for the record. He's someone I have never ending love for, and I'm
He's
always
one
excited.
of my favorite human beings.
He's one of the two people I'm in a Snapchat group with, only two people in the world. But anywho, somebody said, I said, yeah, who do you ever beat? And without missing a beat, V was like, well, Shockwave's the Robot for one. Also, and then he immediately falls forward with, well, also AJ Styles.
So this time stamps that era pretty good. This was probably 2013, 2014.
Probably, but it's just hilarious to try to do the whole, well, who did he ever beat? And they're like, well, a robot and one of the greatest wrestlers that ever lived. What's your question?
No, he beat one of the greatest wrestlers that ever lived and AJ Styles.
And the flat earther.
And the flat earth. I'm not saying that. Hey, I'm just saying.
God
AJ,
bless.
do you want to talk about how you think the earth is flat? No. So, man, we have already gone off the rails on this one, and that's kind of a good thing. This is what tends to happen whenever Kidd Riot is the guest host, because I just made the connection here. You said that you were in Wisconsin with Jason V and Cecil Cerveza.
Yes.
So we've both made that loop with those guys.
Yes. I will bet they were for two different companies, but yes, we
probably three different companies, because I've done it twice.
Okay, but you probably worked for Livewire, I would guess.
I don't think so.
See, I wonder what company you worked for that there.
The one that I worked for was Minnesota Extreme Wrestling in Wisconsin.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I got heat for that show because I took a 4-way super kick.
So who cares?
Exactly, I didn't care. The other company,
did you get back up and no sell it?
Oh no, I dead sold it. It's a whole other story. I can. Hey, I'll say that for paid show, brother. No, the other company that we worked, I don't remember what the name of the company was, but we had a Chinese meal, a succulent Chinese meal before the booking, and Cecil Cerveza was randomly in a Money in the Bank ladder match, and Perry Saturn was on that show, and I know this is a fever dream, and he had some rodents hanging off of him, some women with rodent tendencies hanging off of him as he was watching this ladder match, and he's like, I want to see these boys, I want to see these kids, and then he felt the need to mention, how many goddamn managers do we need on this show? All of them, brother. I was a manager, so I was like, hey, me and Perry Saturn got heat. Me and Big Perry.
So, well, even at this current stage of the way he looks currently, I would fight him.
No, not at all.
That man is terrifying. Even in his worst day, he's still goddamn terrifying. He's not quite Haku, but he's pretty darn close as far as terrifying.
Yeah, especially when he had the bleach blonde beard.
Oh,
that was a different fucking animal right there, brother.
That's when he just did not care. It was all violence, no love.
Ooh. So,
what were we going to talk about today?
Oh, well, we were not getting there yet because I have a point that I've been wanting to bring up for a little bit here. I've made a realization.
Yep.
And what I'm about to tell you is going to sound made up, but I swear to you it's true.
Let's go. My favorite kind of story.
3 times in my life, I have lost cookbooks to exes.
Okay.
And twice, it was the exact same cookbook.
How many cookbooks do you own?
A lot. I do own a lot of cookbooks.
Do you really?
Yes.
I own one.
So the first time was with the official Game of Thrones cookbook.
Okay.
It was left at an ex's house after we broke up. The second time was a Tasty. Do you remember Tasty? I don't think it's still really that
Yep.
popular. Yeah,
I
you
remember
would get like those 30-second to 1 minute like reels on Facebook of like, here's some quick chicken bacon ranch crock pot chicken with biscuits. I lost that cookbook. When she moved out, she took that cookbook with her. And then my most recent breakup, I bought the Game of Thrones cookbook again, and I can't say that like I let her keep it. You know, it was what it was. I didn't care. She's 2 hours away and she was going to FedEx it back to me. And I'm like, it's really not that big of a deal. She did get me. We all know how much I love Rucking Fountain shirts. I wear them all the time. She did get me a Weapons Rucking Fountain shirt. It was supposed to be for Christmas, but then she broke up with me before Christmas. And she claimed that she was going to be sending it to me and she never did. So if you hear this, I would really like that shirt that you bought for me because it's limited edition and I love limited edition. But no, I just think that's a nice little quirky thing about me that I have lost cookbooks 3 times in my life to exes. 3 separate exes.
I have to immediately ask, the Game of Thrones cookbook, is that just like meat and violence and incest? Is that all that book is?
No, it was legitimately some really good recipes in it.
Well, I just figured like it's all meat though, like meat and potatoes.
It was like, hey, here's it. I mean, they say Game of Thrones, but it's like it was a medieval cookbook is really all it was. And like they like it was officially licensed and everything, but like they broke it up by the different kingdoms of like, here's what you would eat in the north, here's what you would eat in the Erie, here's what you would eat in the Riverlands, you know, stuff like that. And it was a pretty good little cookbook. So 2 of my exes now own the Game of Thrones cookbook because of me. So I hope that they are actually getting use out of it.
So you just scroll to like the Ice Kings area of the cookbook and it just says popsicles in one word. It just says popsicle, nothing else. And you just have to go with it.
Popsicles, figure it out. Freeze some liquid, put it on a stick. That's it.
There you go. That's popsicle, baby.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, that was just you know, I've been thinking about that one for a little bit, and it's like, man, that really.
So I'm gonna break your heart for a second here, though, because I have watched a whole whopping 2.5 episodes of Game of Thrones in my life.
It's fine. It's fine. I was really super duper into it. My ex was really super duper into it. So it's one of those weird things of where I like now associate it with her. So it's like hard for me to enjoy it again. But like I'm about to break complete new ground here by making this comment. The last season is really fucking bad, as a lot of people know.
I've seen the first episode and one fight scene in another episode, and that is unfortunately my knowledge of Game of Thrones.
That's really all you need. Well, Kidd Riot.
Yes.
We have got a multitude of topics that we want to cover here today. And one of them specifically is one that you came to me with. And for those of you that do not know, there is this building that is legendary in the world of Midwest independent professional wrestling. And it recently held its last professional wrestling show in the venue. I'm, of course, talking about the Berwyn Eagles. I've never had the pleasure of wrestling in that building or being on a show in that building. I know a lot of my friends have. I know Oliver was on a show there within the last 9 months or so, maybe last year. You've been on there multiple times. I think I'm not even going to pretend to imagine who else I know that. But the point is, a lot of people have been in that building. A lot of companies have been in that building. And it's a mainstay.
Right. So the easiest way to explain the impact of Berwyn is if you turn on any televised wrestling program right now and you watch their women's division, there's at least 5 people or more in their women's division right this second that have wrestled in that building. Shimmer used to run almost all their shows out of that building. So, when you go, and they used to have a giant wall of 8x10 autographs of like old school autographs. Like you would see like Daphne, Dakota Kai, freaking literally everybody. Every woman wrestler, Asuka, Io Sky, down the line. Women's wrestlers have wrestled in that building because it was like the home for Shimmer for a long, long time. So pretty much, if you, like I said, you turn on any televised wrestling and you watch any women's match, unless they are homegrown talent, they probably wrestled in Berwyn.
Yeah. And that goes for more than just the women wrestlers, by the way. I mean, like,
Sure.
Look at all the other companies that are in the Chicagoland area that ran shows there. And, I think Kid Riot will be the first one to admit that he may not be the expert on Berwyn. To a certain degree.
No, I'm never going to claim experthood, but it was a venue that I had always wanted to see myself wrestle in, and then when I got the opportunity, I understood the more importance of it. A quick story about it is we did a memorial show for our friend Poncho that passed very, very unexpectedly, and Rob Adams had came up with us to attend that show, and they ended up putting him on the card. And he even said, as we were kind of checking, a few hours into us being in the building, he goes, I did not realize the importance of this building. I thought it was just another venue. Now that I'm here and I listen to the stories and I see the pictures, I realize I should be way more nervous than I am right now because this building has a lot of history, and it does.
Yeah. And the reason I say that is not because of a dig or a jab or anything, but you just so happened to be on the final show that took place in Berwyn Eagles. And you originally, what we were going to do, we were going to have you on and we were going to talk about, hey, MadBash Wrestling just had its first show it was the first time that a wrestling show ever happened in this venue. Meanwhile, here's the Berwyn Eagles, who they just had their last show, and it was the same day. And right. I'm not trying to compare MadBash Wrestling to any of the multitude of companies that would have been in Berwyn, but you thought that it would be a really cool dichotomy to discuss, and I did agree with you. The issue was, though, I was very, very tired, boy, after my show, so I was not able to record. So a couple of days later, we get Oliver on. We talk about the first MadBash show, and I told people, I was like, listen, I don't want anyone to think that, like, this is all we're going to talk about now is, oh, my God, MadBash Wrestling did a show, and it was so fucking awesome. No, we're going to mention it from time to time, but that still doesn't take away from the fact that I very much want to hear about the final show that took place in Berwyn Eagles. And you just so happen to be on that show, and you're one of my best friends. So the floor is yours.
Oh, well, thank you. First of all, I did remember messaging you early last week, and I said, hey, you want to record Sunday, or are you going to be too tired from your show? And you were like, hey, let's play it by ear. And then Sunday I woke up and you had sent me a message. It was like, not today, brother. And I was like, yep, I kind of, that works for me as well. So we kind of both knew that, like, it was a gamble if we were going to record last week or this week, but I digress. So basically the situation, I'm going to go very, very shortly into the situation because it's been talked to death online, is there was a death match show and a fan was drunk and rowdy and pushed a wrestler. The wrestler tripped over his own 2 feet, which, it happens, but did not want to kind of take responsibility and say, hey, I got knocked on my butt from a drunk. So he claimed a knife was brought out, which then inspired other wrestlers to come to the rescue because, well, somebody, one of our boys got a knife pulled on him. Cops showed up, situation escalates, and the mayor of Berwyn goes, yeah, no more wrestling in this building. We're done.
Leave it to a fucking deathmatch company to ruin it for everybody else. That's probably my most controversial statement that I'm going to make here.
No, don't worry. The shirts are on their way, which are very, very cool. When I'm not going to say, but when I get them, I'll post them online, but it'll explain my feelings about that whole situation of deathmatch wrestling. Anywho, So they were given till the end of the month to, finish up whatever they had up until that point and then call it a day. Well, originally AAW was going to run the last show there and had planned that and advertised it as the very last show. Well, technically they could run that Saturday still as well because AAW was going to run Friday night. So All Star Lucha Libre, company I work for, they upstairs of the Berwyn Eagles Club, there is a locker room / where they keep a ring, which is practice ring. You can try out things, which is great during a show because you can get in the ring and practice some stuff while the show's going on, and no one will be the wiser. But
it's kind of an unsung hero of an indie. If you have a ring to practice in, hell yeah!
Oh my God, it's amazing. So they were allowed to be the very last show because they use that ring as their school. They've got a great relationship with Chuck and Marine, the owners of the Berwyn Eagles, and it was like, well, this is going to be officially the last show there. So I messaged the owner and I said, hey, don't know if you need me, but I'm coming up with some guys. We're going to help you set up the ring. If you need us, cool. If not, no hard feelings. We just want to help out because you guys have been so cool to us. Now, here's where I'm going to MF somebody real quick. As I said, Friday night, another company ran that show. And then they put a lot of effort into their show. They actually had Seth Rollins make a surprise appearance on the show, which was, neat to see the last week in Berwyn. He has shown up and has shared his stories because he had wrestled in Berwyn as well. And he got to share some of his stories, and that was really, really cool. However, if you get online, and this goes out to every promoter, if you get online and you want to sing the praises of a certain building or a certain person, make sure you do right by them. And what I mean by that is sweep up at the end of the night. Because when we walked into the Eagles that day, the floor was dirty. It had not been swept. It had not been mopped. It was very obvious that these people tore down their ring and just headed out the door. That is the
Probably
one thing
just like senioritis. Fuck it. Who cares?
Yeah.
We're done.
Right. But yeah, that for a group of individuals to share so much love and heartfelt stories and then not have the common decency to sweep the floor. Sorry, you're doo-doo to me. Anyways, that is my little rant about that. And now we'll talk about the positives. Because I don't want to, I want this to be a positive.
Of course.
So we got there, helped set up, went and got lunch, came back, and I was talking to the promoter, and he said, hey, have you seen the card yet? And I said, no, I haven't. And we went over to his daughter, who writes a lot of the cards, and she's like, I'm not ready. Give me a few. Okay, cool, whatever. And then later, Limbo pulls me aside, and he goes, hey, I just saw the card. You should probably go outside, take a couple deep breaths, and then we'll go look at it. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. So I went out there and did that, and then he came in, and it turns out that I am in a fatal 5-way with two gentlemen I've never met, my dear friend Limbo, and our trainer. So I'm now wrestling teacher in a fatal 5-way on the last show in Berwyn. So intimidation is, I am nervous. There's no doubt about it. And we go upstairs, we start planning everything, and it clicks into my head, like some of the things they're suggesting for me, I've never done any before. So not only am I planning a match on the last show of Berwyn with my teacher and, 3 other great guys, but I'm learning some stuff that I'm going to try right now. So
and thank God for that practice ring.
Yeah, you ain't kidding, brother. But we got out there. It was great. We opened the show with a nice, with some kind words for that building, for everyone there. We presented Chuck and Marine, the lovely owners, with autographs. They're giant like posters where their pictures were superimposed on the background of the Berwyn Eagles, like the outdoors. And then all the boys signed both of them and gave them to them, so that way they have memories of their very last show here, which I thought was a very classy act by the owners, by the promoters, to be like, hey, yes, we're wrestling here, but really we're in your house, and we want to say thank you for letting us in your house.
Now, on the flip side of that, we had a signed poster for Event Horizon from all the boys that we gave to the American Legion. So it's, it's at the parallels here, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the big fun spots I want to just highlight real quick here. One, I was very thankful for the opportunity. I did kiss the floor of the Berwyn Eagles Club during my entrance, but my hood fell over, so you just think it looks like I'm just laying on the ground, but whatever. I know people I've told no. Yes, it was after we mopped it. I'm not a fool. I'm a fool, but I'm not that big of a fool. I knew better to kiss the area that had been mopped and maybe not, dirty floor that everyone had stepped on. But
Yeah.
we had a gentleman named Uncle. I'm going to mess up his name. I want to say it's Uncle Chase. He does kind of an old man gimmick. He asked if he could jump off the concession stand, to which his bluff was immediately called, and then he realized that he was going to do this spot now, whether he really wanted to or if he was just trying to be funny or not.
I love it.
Photos and videos of that, though, were on Telemundo earlier this week. So Telemundo covered that it was the very last show in Berwyn, because Berwyn does have a very thick Hispanic culture. If you go right across the street from the Eagles Club, there's a great taco place and a great Hispanic ice cream place, literally right next door to each other. So, it's a very Hispanic community. So Telemundo being out there covering his last event, using some of the photos and videos that some other people had taken, really freaking cool to see, including that, old man jumping off the concession stand onto a couple of guys. It was, so that's just awesome. Overall, the show went great. The main event was August Matthews, formerly of the Bang Bros, Manny Cortez, who was one of the trainers there, and David Ali, who I had never seen David Ali before, but the man's got some charisma. I will definitely give you that. He's got some charisma. He's got some aura about him. And they had a great match, ending with a disgusting running powerbomb through a door.
Ooh.
And it was, everybody audibly pretty much made the same noise you made when it happened. Good Lord. But, last night, we got everyone out there. We said our goodbyes, and we took a bunch of photos. There is a photo that I took with some of the guys that I trained with. I need to be more aware of what I'm doing in photos, because we did one where we did the WrestleMania point, but it was at the Berwyn sign. There's clearly some paraphernalia in my hand during said photo.
So that photo will probably never see the light of day.
No, that's our boys only photo. That's not a uploaded on the Facebook's photo. We headed out, and then it was kind of a day. And I will say that, after my match ended, the 3 count hit, I kind of went to the back and I stepped outside and got some fresh air and just kind of took in the whole, Berwyn is gone. I got to be on the last show of it. I got that opportunity, and I definitely went around and thanked my trainer and all the promoters of All Star again for letting me there. I went and told Chuck and Marine both individually, hey, thank you for letting me in your home. They don't know me well. Marine kind of knows me because I helped shovel snow off her car one winter day. But other than that, they don't super well know me because I live 2.5 hours away from them. But I wanted to say, hey, thank you for letting us in your home. We appreciate it, because yes, it is just a venue to a lot of people, but to them, it's their livelihood. It's their home. So I'm glad I got to do that as well.
Do you think wrestling will be back?
Ooh. I know some stuff, so I'm going to say I would doubt it, but I also am not going to say no.
Okay.
And that's because what I know is this much of a story that's probably going to be this long. So
okay,
I don't want to, go, hey, I have this much information and it's true and this is what's happening, when really there's a whole nother book of information that's going to be involved in this matter.
I think it'll be back personally.
I freaking hope so. I will say though that if it does not, we have been able to move the All-Star Lucha Libre School. It is about 10 minutes away from the Eagles Club, still in the Berwyn area, at a place called Magoo's. We have been able to move the ring there so that way training can continue. Because in the end, we want training to continue, because that's their training has definitely helped me the last 6 months to really expand my move repertoire and become more fluid with a lot of my already used motions.
Yeah, and I don't think that you really need to, wax philosophical about how important training is when it comes to independent wrestling. But I mean, yeah, it's exactly. I mean, we know, like, yeah, I mean, you just admitted, like, look, it's helped me out, and I think that we all know that, yeah, training is important, and so
Well,
it's good to know. It's good to know that they're going to continue.
we do say that we know training is important and that everyone should know that. And then unfortunately, recently I saw some stuff online that made me go, "Who, buddy? Maybe actually I need to send you that match. You will. It will be if you have a day to sit around, eat popcorn, and just enjoy some BS for about 17 minutes, brother. I got a nugget of gold for you.
Hey, we're due for another fucking brother weekend, man. We're due
Oh,
for another brother weekend where
you are it.
we just sit and watch the Hardy show and watch bad wrestling and
What's your 4th of July look like? What do you do for the 4th of July? I'm not planning stuff right now. I'm just asking.
Oh, I don't know. What is my 4th of July looking like? That's a good question. I've got a busy summer. I've got a really busy summer.
I'm sorry, promoter Dickie doesn't have time for his little friends anymore. I apologize, sir. I
Oh
apologize.
yeah, I'm big time promoter now, brother. No, like I'm literally the day that this goes live to the public. I mean, obviously it'll be up on Patreon first, but the day that this goes live to the public, I'm in Las Vegas. So I'm going to Las Vegas for my 34th birthday. So it's going to be a lot of fun. My
Nice.
34th birthday. 35. Okay, I'm going to be 35.
Brother, I'm going to be 45. You're good. You're fine. You're all right. You'll survive. Just wait till 40. That's when everything starts breaking. So now that you are a big promoter, am I supposed to bring you chicken or how does this work?
Hey, man, you want an opportunity?
I love that I've just got you so well known with the bits, even though you've never met that man.
I already had that bit before you really got me into it. I always had scumbag promoter bit. Like, it was always my thing.
Well, yeah, but now you got the voice to go with it.
Yeah, hey, man. But no, so any closing thoughts on Berwyn, or was that pretty much all you got?
I mean, honestly, I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss that energy, that building. There's something just special. There's also something amazing about going to a wrestling show and then walking across the street and having some fire tacos. Which, by the way, the last 2 times we've been up there, they've had a mariachi band come in and play for tips while we're eating lunch. And
dude, that's so cool.
It's these 2 older gentlemen. I got some photos of them. I'll have to throw online, but like of us with them because they found out we were wrestlers, and then all of a sudden they wanted to be our friends, and I'm like, well, we want to be your friends. But just you want to talk about just a good way. You know, you're going to have good food with fun music playing. Like it's just oh my god, I'm gonna miss the entire day experience, not just that building, not just that show, but the entire experiences of those Berwyn All Star Lucha Libre days.
I want to tell you, finding a hole in the wall place to eat close to a venue is one of the most unsung heroes of independent wrestling.
Oh, undisputedly. That's sometimes the best. When we went to oh, never mind. That was not a good experience. I'm going to retract my entire story there. Never mind. I forgot the food was not that good. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like we found a place. Sorry about saying we found a place right down the road from the Legion in Marshall. Me and Oliver talked about it last week. Really good burger, and shit like that.
Do you remember that time that me and Rob came down to EPW and we were going to meet you guys afterwards, but then we left before you got there? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That place did not have good food, and that's why we left because the food was terrible and we were starving.
Just say what it is. I don't care. Was it the Odin?
That little Odin, the Odin bar, Odin Tavern.
Oh, the Odin Tavern. Oh, the food was atrocious.
Yeah, we didn't know that. No one smartened us up. That's why we left before you guys got there because this food was so bad and we were still so hungry.
There was a place that used to, we could like order. They were a sponsor for EPW and they were Burning Daylight is what they were called. And it was so fucking good. And then they closed. But
Of course.
Yeah. Have we talked about appetizer biscuits and gravy on the podcast before?
We have not, because you keep no-selling them.
Okay. So we can get into appetizer biscuits and gravy here after I remind each and every one of you that this is, of course, the Spot Show podcast. Each and every week, my friends and I get together and we talk about the wacky world of independent wrestling and everything in between. If you like what we're doing here, you can, of course, go on over to patreon.com/MadBash Studios. Back us at the $5 tier. There you're going to get all of our shows and content early and ad-free. That's the best way to keep the microphones on and the envelopes full. But that is not the only way that you can support us. You can, of course, go to madbashstudios.com. There you're going to find links to all of our social media platforms. Go follow us on Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Go to your favorite podcasting platform. Leave us a 5-star written review. Help us beat the algorithm. Go to the YouTube channel. We upload the podcast on the YouTube channel. Leave some comments. Leave some likes. Let's do this, guys. Let's grow this together. That's what we've always been from the very beginning. Plug skis and upcoming dates for you. As you know, MadBash Wrestling Presents Event Horizon took place. Matches from the show are now being uploaded to the Patreon in sequence. Not in sequence, because I uploaded the main event first. Those are going to be slowly rolling out on the Patreon, and then the full edited show will be up on Patreon in due time. Then those will experience limited exclusivity. They will then be uploaded to the YouTube channel for you to enjoy. Also, we got one finger up. What's up, Kidd Riot?
Real quick, what is the pay, if you can discuss it, I don't know, what is the pay window for those? Because some of us really want to watch one match really, really badly, and was going to ask you about it off air, but then actually forgot till just right this second.
All the matches are going up on the $5 tier. All the matches are going up on the $5 tier. The full show will be going up on the $10 tier, limited exclusivity. Then they will be uploaded to the YouTube channel. So the way that we're toying around with a lot of like Violent J in an interview said that what really helps with views and stuff is you upload the full show, and then you can upload individual matches as well. So I think we're going to be doing that also.
Yeah, smart.
Yes, and I know which match you want to see, and that match is about to be up on the Patreon. It's the next one. One.
Okay, give me an Iggy when it up, please, because I really want to watch it at the gym.
It's so good. It's so good. Upcoming date for you. We are coming back to Marshall, Illinois, May 23rd. MadBash Wrestling presents The Gang Wrestles for the Troops. Listen, a couple of matches have already been announced for that, but I'm going to talk specifically about that main event of the evening. Dreamwave Wrestling cross MadBash Wrestling. Dreamwave Alternative Champion Christian Rose is going to be defending his championship, who's going to be defending his championship against Christian Rose, MadBash Wrestling Champion Devontae Knox. That's right. Champion versus champion. That is going to be a banger of a main event. Who is going to walk away from that match representing both brands? Only one way to find out. Also, we are going to run it back. The rematch that everyone wants to see. Half Crab Hans Carden versus the problem solver Zach Abstract. They are going to run it back again. The first time blew the roof off the building. And dare I say, I try to be partial here because this is how I am. Sleeper match of the night, in my opinion, from MadBash Wrestling Event Horizon. Of course, all that's going to be rolling out on the Patreon. Speaking of the Patreon, if you are listening to this podcast on the Patreon, we'll be back in just a snap. But if you are not listening, you are about to hear a word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Venom Energy. Hey, we've all been there, and there's nothing wrong with admitting to it. Well, what I mean is that we've all hit that midday slump, and we all need a little push to get us through the rest of the day. Well, what better option to give you a pick-me-up than one of the wonderful flavors of Venom Energy? Venom is what gets MadBash through those long show days, and we know that it can do the same for you. I'm going to sweeten the pot a little bit for you, too. Yeah, come to our merch table when you see us at a show, and with the purchase of a MadBash Wrestling sticker or magnet, you get a Venom Energy drink on us. While supplies last, of course, so you better act quick. We'd like to thank Venom again for sponsoring this episode. Please consume responsibly. Not recommended for children under 18, pregnant or nursing women, or people sensitive to caffeine. This episode is brought to you by patreon.com/MadBash Studios. If you head on over to patreon.com/MadBash Studios, you are helping fund the definition of independent. Hundreds of hours of content starting at just $5 a month. You are going to get early, ad-free access to everything that MadBash Studios has to offer, on top of exclusive shows starting at just $5 a month. That's less than a cup of coffee a month. You can go on over to patreon.com/MadBash Studios and you can support the dream of being unapologetically creative. So the big news Friday was, or that Friday, depending on when you listen to this, that Seth Rollins made an appearance at Berwyn Eagles. You know, he made a lineage at that building. He went to send his regards, his final regards, to what many would probably argue is the building that made him.
The best way I could explain it to people who don't know is the Berwyn Eagles Club is to Chicago suburbs what the ECW arena was to Philadelphia people.
Easily.
That's the best way I can explain it.
But dare I say, Kidd Riot, Friday, that same day that Seth Rollins was making an appearance at an independent wrestling show.
Oh, see it.
That was not the biggest news surrounding professional wrestling, because I was standing right next to Connor Hopkins backstage at Hybrid Championship Wrestling when we were informed the latest batch of releases took place in WWE. Now, we're going to run down these releases because there have since been more. As of a couple of days ago from this recording, there have been more releases. I'm going to run these down real quick. And these appear to be, I'm on Reddit, of course, with a list of all the releases. These appear to be in order of like, oh, these were the first.
Right.
Then now here's the second batch, which the second batch was only like 5 people. So jump in if you have any thoughts about any of these people. As I say their names specifically, I will do the same. And then we will just kind of break it down towards the end, give our thoughts on this. Kairi Sane, Jesus Christ.
Well, mid storyline, no less. That's the best way I could explain letting her go. The mind is literally she was in the middle of the storyline. But anyways, go on.
Yes. Aleister Black, Zelina Vega.
So those two, real quick.
Those two go hand in hand.
They do, but I really feel like they brought them back just to replace Cross, and then they just decided that, you know what, we don't want to do the storyline at all now. Because he literally just kind of slid into where Cross was before Cross left. But anyway.
So this one is really telling because I don't remember the exact order that all of the news broke, but every single one of the Wyatt Six has been released. And the way that it was broken down over time, like at the time, the last one that to be let go was Dexter Lumis. So again, I'm with Connor, and we're like, they've all been, I mean, are they keeping Loomis? Or are they just getting rid of all of them? And then like 20 minutes later, it was like, oh no, they let go of him. So so I revealed the Aleister Black release, like Connor was literally about to walk through the curtain. And I was like, hey, they let go of, and he's like, oh, okay. But it was just, we were all just, man, this was a big topic of conversation in the locker room as this was all coming down. I'll just put it that way.
And
Dude,
absolutely.
Cobra was just like floored. He was like, what? Like, it's just, you know how Cobra is. Cobra, I love the Cobra. Cobra can never just have a normal reaction to something. It's always got to be a what? Like, it's just.
Yeah, brother goes hard with the selling.
He does. Uncle Howie, aka Bo Dallas.
Yep. So that whole Wyatt Six thing, I think they didn't know what to do with him.
They never did. No, dude, I have been a massive critic rather of the whole Bray Wyatt universe from with the Fiend. And I've been like, okay, yeah, cool. Scary clown man. What does this mean? What does any of this mean? It's like, well, if you interpret it, it's like, no, I'm not talking about interpretation. I'm like, what the fuck does any of this even mean? Like, what is this? Like this, what is the Wyatt Six? It's like, well, it's the representation of Bray Wyatt's different. Okay, yeah, that's cool. But what does it mean?
Well, so you got to think about like Kane debuting. When Kane debuted, it was this big, monstrous thing. And he for a while, he was just squashing people with the red light. And then eventually he had to be able to have competitive matches because eventually you have to have competitive matches. And I think the Wyatts fell in that same boat where you guys have an incredible debut. You got incredible interest when you're jumping people. It looks super dramatic. But then when it comes to going, okay, now you have to have a 12-minute match, you lose so much in the mystique that I think they just like, we don't know what to do with you now.
Yeah. So again, Bo Dallas, Nikki Cross, Dexter Loomis, Rowan, Joe Gacy, the Wyatt Six are officially gone. I always thought that they would kind of always be safe. I figured that they would always kind of be grandfathered in because of the tragedy that happened with Bray Wyatt.
Well, and so here's the thing. I think if the people that were in charge of wrestling were still in charge, they would have been safe. But because WWE is now a property of a larger company, then that none of that really matters. And I think that's really what these releases really say is, hey, yes, wrestling wise, we would keep these people, but we're now owned by somebody else who is not in the wrestling business. And so now it's business first, emotions later.
Yeah.
Or never. Or never.
I saw a report, and I don't know how true it is, that someone high up at TKO doesn't like the darker characters. Did you read that?
I mean, it would explain why they got rid of Cross, Aleister, and the Wyatts. Like, and someone online is going to be like, well, what about Damian Priest and Finn Balor and Danhausen? Well, first of all, Danhausen's not a dark character; he's a fucking cartoon. Finn is, yes, he has the demon side, but that he's done that like once in like a couple of years. And Damian at this point is not that dark as much as he's just cool.
Yeah. Here's one that you actually wanted to spend a little bit of time on. Santos Escobar has been released.
Yeah. So, and that one for a lot of people, that's going to be like, but if I'm big into Lucha Libre. I know it's surprising to a lot of the listeners here, I know, right? But I watch AAA's show, especially now that I used to always, and now I watch it even more because now it's, every week it's an hour long and it's up and you can get an English or Spanish commentary. But if you watch his last match that he has there, it is obvious that one of two things happened. Either he is injured and he is trying desperately to push through, or they told him right before he walked into the curtain, brother, this is your last match, because his mind and heart is not into it. And it's so, from watching him work from Lucha Underground, well, from AAA to Lucha Underground to NXT to WWE main roster, I've never seen him look so sluggish and just out of it and so not there ever in any match ever. And he looked like either he's in unbearable pain, he's just trying to push through, or he
Just
got
over
terrible
it.
and he just wants to go home. It's so obvious by his body. He's moving very slowly. He's moving very sluggish. And it's very obvious that something is audibly wrong. So when he got released, at first I was like, oh, that sucks. And then I went, oh, that explains so much of why he acted like that during that match. It's a four-way, and like he is clearly the flat tire on the bike.
Here is one that a lot of people are like, how dare they? I didn't see this one coming. I saw this one coming a mile away. The Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin, Alex Shelley. Again, I know I keep bringing them up, but it's who I was talking to about this as it was breaking. Christian Rose, Hunter Holdcraft, Connor Hopkins, Cobra was a part of the conversation. A couple other people kind of sprinkling in and out. Green Kid Chris was a part of the conversation, I believe, when all these releases were going on. Dude, the Motor City Machine Guns WWE run was just a victory lap. That's all it was. It was a victory lap run, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, it firmly was. We've done everything but this. Let's go do this. And that's what it was. And I think that, that's why they won the tag belts almost immediately, because they went, let's get the important stuff out of the way. I do think it is kind of sad that what was supposed to be their big Mania moment ended up being like the SmackDown before. And it ended up being one of the better matches of last year, not this year that just passed, but the year before's Mania. And it ended up being on the SmackDown before due to time restraints. And that's that tag team ladder match. If you haven't seen it, watch that match. It is so good.
Dude, the Machine Guns are the fucking best.
Oh, I love everything they do. So, but you're absolutely right. It's not surprising because this was just a victory lap for them. I would 1,000% agree with that.
Did you see the video that surfaced of a very checked out Alex Shelley phoning it in at an autograph signing?
No, but it doesn't surprise me.
Dude, he's not. I'm just gonna say it. He seems like a dick. He seems like an asshole.
He very much seems that way. A lot of people say that, and then they say the exact opposite about Sabin, which makes me laugh.
Yeah, Sabin was the one. So I met the Machine Guns back in 2010. I went to the TNA Lockdown Fan Fest, and I met both of them. And Shelley was the one that did look like he didn't want to be there.
Well, Shelley seems more like I'm an artist. Well, Sabin's like, I'm a wrestler and I like to go have fun. And Sabin's like, and Shelley's like, yeah, but my art, my wrestling art.
Yeah,
that's the emo hair. In case anyone didn't get the reference.
Okay, Apollo Crews. I mean, I don't really got a lot to say about that one. I mean, a lot of people are making the JTG comparison of how he just stayed under the radar for so long.
Credit to him, make that money. But yeah, no, I mean, he'd been on WWE Main Event in a couple AAA shows, and that's it in the last 6 months. So no surprise.
Andre Chase, Zoe Stark, Alba Fire. I've actually met Alba Fire once when she was still on the Indies.
Ready for rapid fire for those three? Ready? Here we go. Andre Chase, great gimmick. That gimmick was never going to leave NXT because they would never work on a main roster. Basically, he was a college performer. Zoe Starks, I like her stuff, but the fact of the matter is she's been more injured more than she's been active. So sadly, no surprise there. And Alba Fire, like what made her great on the Indies was her just being an absolute badass. So when you made her a security guard, it killed what made her famous.
My Andre Chase story is that I saw him, and was it him or the other Bravado? It was Harlem and Lancelot, and he was Harlem Bravado, and I can't remember which one of it. He wrestled Eddie Kingston at a Chikara show that I was at, and it was a fucking banger, dude. He can go. Both of the Bravados could go.
Oh, and that's what made me surprised that they put him in like jeans and a college sweater, because I'm like, brother, you're limiting his movement for a guy who can go.
Whatever happened to Lancelot Bravado?
It's a great question. That might be a juicy exclusive you're going to have to upload later.
I'm Googling it right now.
All right, so let's see. Who else is on your list while you're Googling?
Oh, they were Shoot Brothers.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know they were Shoot Brothers. Okay,
Hey,
sorry.
brother.
Hey, brother, we're gonna gimmick this. These are people that I have no fucking clue who they are, for the record, because I don't watch
Okay.
NXT. I don't watch
I'll
them. I don't watch weekly.
I'll tell
So
you.
we,
I know.
yeah. Tyra May Steele, no clue.
Nope.
Serena Linton,
Nope.
Tyson, Tyreek, Chris
Those.
Island.
So Tyrus and Tyreek, I believe, were the two guys. They were gonna do. They were gonna be Wesley of the Rascals, Muscle, but they just were okay.
Okay.
They were big and they were strong and they were impressive looking, but bell to bell, they were okay at best. Go on.
Malik Blade, which is the most WWE developmental name I've ever heard.
So his gimmick though was it was him and Anishus Inofi. I don't know if he's still there or not, but one of them they did a gimmick where one of them dressed up like Carlton Banks from the Fresh Prince. Like
I love that.
yeah. I don't remember. I never remember which one it was though.
Trill London.
No idea.
Luca Cusafino.
He was a manager and had like 2 matches.
Okay, now here's in my opinion, outside of the Wyatt Six and Kyrie Sane, no offense to Aleister Black, but he didn't really do a whole lot on his return. These 4 are the ones that a lot of people were really upset by, specifically 2 of them. And I'm going to save those 2 for last, because those are probably going to be the lion's share of what we talk about here.
Oh,
JC Mateo, of course, Jeff Cobb, and Tonga Loa have been released. And those, let me say this real quick. Those actually shock me, because I genuinely thought that anybody linked to a bloodline storyline would always have a spot.
So on that same list, here's what you got to realize. One, JC Mateo, Jeff Cobb, not related to him. So he's like Sami Zayn, but the muscular Sami Zayn. So that one, and I love Jeff Cobb. I've had the pleasure of meeting him a few times. He is a funny dude. He's very nice and very polite. But it doesn't surprise me because they didn't do anything with him. They brought him in, they had him have a cool debut, and then they went, stand over there by those guys, and then we'll tell you if we need you. So that one doesn't surprise me. And Tonga
Loa, the notorious video of him doing the strikes.
Yeah. And the thing is there's so much, like somebody uploaded a video and they're like, I don't mean to be mean, but maybe this is why brother got released. And it was all of his botches.
He botched his debut.
His low blow on Kevin Owens when
That's
Kevin
the
was
big one.
Yeah.
But he botched his debut. He was supposed to pull the referee and missed him.
So that one, unfortunately, does not surprise me, because just because you have a bloodline doesn't necessarily mean that you are.
Yeah.
You know, every bloodline's got a Bruce Hart.
Oh, so then I wonder what they do with Tama Tonga, because he's obviously the one that he was the star of the group.
I'd probably put him with. Is Hikalea still there? Probably put him with them. Make him be a tag.
Tongatala, you mean?
Sure.
Yeah. I'm looking.
I will say I'm all about. I would love to see a War Games this year with no bloodline members in it. Just throwing that immediately right now.
Oh,
just let's do something different. You're not the Horseman. Let's stop. Despite what Rikishi may say.
All right, here's the ones that everyone is shocked by: Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods.
So do you want to go first, or you want me to?
You go first.
All right, so here's the thing. Am I surprised they released? Yes, and also very much no, for 2 reasons. One, they don't need to do anything left in that company other than elevate young talent. And I absolutely believe both those men would do that. But I don't think TKO wants them to do that or thinks they need them to do that. So they're saying like, hey, you can have us elevate these young tag teams. And because TKO is not a wrestling company, I think their mentality is, why would we need you to do that? We can have other people do that. These guys been here 6 months. Why can't he do that? Because I firmly believe TKO looks at WWE like UFC, and they don't understand why you have to have the older talent uplift the young talent to put them in that position to be the new main event talent. I firmly believe they don't understand that. And additionally, that's the only one that they've come right out and said this was mutual. So from what it looks like is
that one was
it looks like they were offered a new contract. It was probably, we don't know the details, but it probably was not financially beneficial. And so then they're like, we can just leave. And TKO was like, okay.
So what I read was they were offered a contract extension through 2030 and they declined it. This was last year. It was a 5-year contract, or an extension or whatever. And they knew that the contract was up, and a lot of people are saying that like, that's why they just kind of were checked out, because they knew that they were on, I'm going to use the phrase again, a victory lap. They were just kind of done. I don't know, man. Not to say that he was what held them together, because I think that they all they all played their role in the New Day. But after Big E got hurt, New Day was never the same.
It definitely put a little tarnish on it. It really, really did. And I think that they just, the other thing you got to realize is the New Day, I mean, not even counting their WWE money, they're going to be fine, because here's what they're going to do. They're going to wait about 3 to 6 months. They're going to do a 3-month run in AEW that culminates with them working the Young Bucks, because everybody wants that. And then they're just going to go play video games on Twitch for the rest of their lives. And they're going to be so happy and successful. So
Woods will at least. Yeah. I don't know about Kofi.
Kofi will probably do whatever the hell he wants, but like they are going to get out of wrestling, provided they don't get some insane injury this last short run they're going to have with the Bucks. They're going to get out of wrestling with most of their body still intact, and and they're going to be financially okay. And hell, that is the freaking dream.
What I have to say about releases, specifically these two, is it's very easy to armchair CEO. It's very easy to say, motherfucker, they didn't do that. What do they feel about it? Because from the sound of it, they wanted the release. And at the end of the day, wrestling fans, who can be some of the most selfish individuals, me, maybe they don't want to be in WWE anymore. WWE is not the be all end all for everything. And plus, it's like they weren't doing dick with them anyway. So what do you want? Do you just want these people to be in a company where they're doing nothing and just drawing a paycheck? Because then here's where, God damn it, here's what it is. This is what is infuriating to me, kid, is this is why tribalism in wrestling is so infuriating to me. And I'm not talking about what Sandman calls tribalism, like when he was on the podcast. What do you mean that there's just going to be a company run by just Samoans? So
yes.
Everyone, you just used the perfect fucking example of New Day is probably going to go to AEW, do a half a year run at most, and get over and do this. Okay, cool. You want to see them wrestle, because everyone is like, well, WWE's not using them right. WWE's not using them right. I want to see them wrestle. They're going to go fucking wrestle, and people are going to bitch about it because they're wrestling in AEW. But it's like, listen, what would you, is it just because they're not in WWE anymore? Like, is that what you want? Like, shut the fuck up. You didn't give a shit about fucking Chris Island until he got fucking released.
So real quick,
I
heard it.
Company, dude. Fuck. God damn. Go on.
I got a quick analogy that someone used that I feel is perfect for this, and it parlays with us because we're both big old nerds. You guys are complaining about releases when it's people you didn't even play on the new video game.
Yes, that's perfect.
You're like, oh, darn, we let go of this guy. Yeah, how often did you play him on WWE 2K? Oh, well, never, but he was on the roster. Okay, shut the fuck up.
Oh my God, dude. It's so infuriating to me. It's like,
but to be clear, we don't want anyone to be in a position where they are financially struggling because of
No,
these
that
things.
we do not want. Of course, I obviously do not want that. I want that to be abundantly clear. I'm talking more about the frustration of the fans. Because it's like, well, WWE didn't know what to do with them, or well, guess what? They're going to go somewhere like AEW that maybe quote unquote does know what to do with them, and you're going to bitch anyway because it's not WWE. And then it's like it's the same thing of Edge in AEW, happy doing what he wants to do, and it's like, well, I want him back in WWE. Well, motherfucker, WWE made it abundantly clear that they don't want to give him what he wants, and that's wrestling. They thought they were like, oh, we're done with you, Adam. You know?
Well,
it's just
on the upside, if the New Day does go to WWE or AEW, Edge and Christian are teaming there on their victory lap run, so we may get the New Day versus Edge and Christian as well.
But people don't look at that.
I don't fuck what they look like. I'm telling you what I'm looking for.
No, I agree with you. That's what I'm saying. Like, I know you and I are probably both ecstatic at the idea of New Day going to AEW.
I'm not even a big AEW fan. I'm really, really not. But like, I'm excited for the potential matchups
about who they get to run. Yeah, that's what I mostly mean. Yeah. I think a good example of this is Shinsuke Nakamura. It's like WWE's not using him. WWE's not using him properly. Dude gets to surf, just hang out and surf. I think he's pretty fucking happy.
Yeah, he looks very fucking happy. And they just debuted Evil, who is Io Sky's fiance / another New Japan former heavyweight champion. So that could be very interesting if they feud or work together. So there's some real interesting possibilities there too.
It's like the same idea as like if they released Pete Dunne tomorrow, people would be fucking livid, but it's like, okay, what were they doing with him? You know, I'm not saying that, like you said, I don't want him to financially struggle, of course. And I swear to God, if they release Pete Dunne, I'm a clairvoyant. I just picked him randomly because of the shit that they have him doing. But it's like, dude, come on. These people these are all the same people that are like, oh, I want to see The Rock and Stone Cold come back at WrestleMania, and I want them to wrestle Surfer Sting, and then I think The Undertaker needs to come out of retirement for that match. It's like, shut up.
It's the Saudi booking.
And then they bitch about the Saudi bookings. Motherfuckers, if you were in that position, you would want the same shit.
I mean, that sounds like a match that they would book. The one you just hit me with.
What was it? Who was it that the Saudi prince requested? It was like he wanted Yokozuna or something. I think, and it's like, brother, he's dead.
I forgot. Oh, with Pete Dunne, you know what they should do to help him come back and get back more over? They should put him under a mask.
They should, and they should make him a luchador.
And they should have his boss about to have a mask versus mask match with the original.
Ooh, that's how you get Pete Dunne over.
Yeah.
That's how you get Pete Dunne over. That's the other one too. It's like people were complaining about what they're doing with Ludwig Kaiser. And it's like, after he wasn't Gunther's sidekick, what the fuck was he doing?
Yeah, and he's more over now than he has been.
Oh, his El Grande Americano is more over, and this is no knock on Ludwig Kaiser. By the way, Ludwig Kaiser, this is one of the most niche references I've ever made in my entire life, is built like the R3 Tech action figures from back in the day. Do you know the ones I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
They had like that bow in the back, and they were super skinny.
Yep.
Oh, man. But I don't know.
Look at him. I mean, literally last night they had the contracts on AAA. They had the contract signing between original El Grande and current El Grande. They had their contract signing for mask versus mask. If you watch that contract signing, the crowd is so in depth and sucked into the storyline and emotionally invested in the storyline that you're like, neither one of these guys were doing shit before the storyline. Maybe shut up and see what they can do with it.
And then it's like, that's where the super duper nerd wrestling fans get involved. It's like, just because Tyler Bates not going out there and fucking bit bopping people and Pete Dunne's not fucking doing the joint manipulation as the bruiserweight and all this, it's like, doesn't matter, dude. This is no knock on them personally, but it's like, goddamn, they're involved in a fucking hot angle right now that people are eating up. And ultimately, just because they're not doing it the way that you want them to do it, does it matter? Your boys are still succeeding.
Yeah, and they're succeeding well. Like, that crowd is super into their stuff. Like, it's amazing. I don't want to go super in depth with it, but the contract signing was, they had action, they had emotion. They did it was one of the more exciting contract signings I have ever seen.
I'll have to check it out.
And there's very little physical contact between them, but just the emotion of the storytelling was A+. A+ is all around.
I'll have to check that out. But yeah, man, best of luck in your future endeavors to everyone that got released. I want this also blanket statement. Kidd Riot pointed this out. Like, this is no knock on the wrestlers themselves. Yeah, that sucks. You no longer have a paycheck, and that genuinely does suck. I hope all of them land on their feet. You know, you just might be seeing Uncle Howdy showing up at a MadBash wrestling show to wrestle Devontae Knox at some point or something. But
hang on. Before you even make another statement, if you don't book Captain Howdy versus Colby Jack, you're not the booker I thought you were.
No, I would need to book Joe Gacy versus Colby Jack. Huskus the pig boy versus the cow. Come on, dude.
I would pay to see that. I mean, $5 a month on Patreon.
Hell yeah. But, well, all right, gang. We're going to start wrapping up here. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I hope everyone lands on their feet. I hope that they're able to find work. I hope that they're able to rebound from this. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some of these guys hired back, which will then go nowhere because it never goes anywhere. Yeah, it is what it is. It sucks to see them released, yes, but you also got to look at multiple other things about it. That's just how it is. So, well, all right. Let's say we're going to wrap up here. Thank you to everyone for listening to the Spot Show podcast. You can, of course, find me on Instagram at DWobsEditBay. Kidd Riot, where can everyone find you? Let me guess. You don't remember.
I do, actually. I remember my Instagram. It is space, as in outer space, Rudo, RUDO. So SPACERUDO, space Rudo on Instagram. That is the easiest place to find me. I upload a lot of stuff. I will say, if you do go there, you will get to see my real face. It is not as pretty as some may believe, but it is what it is, because I do upload some real life stuff as well, because I'm kind of at that point where I can mix wrestling and real life a little bit.
Since you're uploading pictures of your real face now, you got to upload that picture I took of you backstage at NVW where you had the Zubas, the Pit Vipers, and you're just sitting back in the chair.
Absolutely, I'll upload that because
I'll have to find it and resend
that's gonna be my Tinder / Hinge / Bumble / whatever dating programs exist default photo now.
None of them work.
Brother, I know. I'm 45 years old and single. I know, or almost 45.
Of course, the big plug ski, MadBashStudios.com. MadBash Studios presents the Gang Wrestles for the Troops coming up here May 23rd. Hope to see everyone there. Listen, this last show was damn near a sellout. So let's fill the American Legion. Let's make it something that everyone has to see. Let's make it a big deal. Patreon.com/MadBash Studios. Some of you are on the Patreon, and you are about to hear us roll into Paid Show, which I have a very fascinating conversation that I want to cover with Kidd Riot on Paid Show, that he knows a little bit, and he'll know right what I'm talking about whenever, because I didn't prep him on this one. He'll know what I'm talking about as soon as I start talking about it. But for everyone not on the Patreon, we will see you down the road on some form of content.